Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back with another video. Hope everyone's well wherever you are. And we're part one of whatever this is. I guess as it's a fifth, I was thinking about my 5 chosen causes which I love to work on, which are like of benefiting Italian football, Celtic, liberalism, people from former colonies, and tackling poverty and alleviating suffering, which I often talk about. Soccer for any Americans out there, I normally say. But so yeah, I wanted to focus on that. To be honest, I was taking a while on the on Facebook because I think YouTube takes a bit longer to upload. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure in my experience that it takes a bit longer. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this. So yeah, I wanted to tie it into dyslexic awareness and empowerment and Black history and empowerment, as I call them, Dyslexia Awareness and Empowerment Month and Black History and Empowerment Month. As I mentioned recently, it's Black History Month here in Britain. In America, it's in February. But so yeah, I thought I'd do it in my usual list form, and I was wondering whether to do it differently, but I thought I'd do it in my usual list form because I think it's a bit easier. But initially, I thought it would be a bit of a challenge. I was going to say about the first 5 were going to be about the 5 causes, and then after that, it would have been difficult to branch off from there. But I had a brainwave and thought of doing it differently. But I'll come to that. But yeah, I thought about my 5 causes as it's a 5th today, but I wanted to tie it in with dyslexia awareness and empowerment and Black history and empowerment, as I call them. Maybe the name could even be changed. The names could be changed from dyslexia awareness to dyslexia awareness and empowerment, and also Black history could be changed to Black history and empowerment as well. Yeah, I wanted to start with a bit of sad news. I know I mentioned it in my previous video, but it's 2 months since one of my cats passed away. I remember we took him to the vets, me and my stepdad and one of my brothers, and I was hoping the vets would be able to revive him and say, "Oh, you're worrying over nothing" or whatever. Although I didn't see the state he was in because he was in the front of the car and I was at the back and whatever. And my mum and brother picked him up. But I was hoping they'd be able to revive him or do something. But they said they couldn't really do much. And yeah, I was like tearing up. I was hoping I'd be able to give the vets a hug and say, "Oh, thanks so much. It's going to be all right." But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. So it is 2 months since the anniversary. I was thinking, I'm a bit tired though, but I was initially thinking of try and sing some songs that to sort of commemorate Panda. But I know I read something a few times, or at least once, which said, when you're happy, I think it's a page on Facebook, although I'm not a member of it, but it says when you're happy, you listen to the music of a song, but when you're sad, you understand the lyrics. But yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way and then get onto the list. But anyway, I'm waffling, so I'm going to get onto it. And these are pointers number 1 to 10. And as ever, I'd love to know what you think. So, number 1, I'd love to get started with, which I suppose I am doing by making these videos. I do hope they make a genuine difference. And I'm focusing on a theme of trying to talk about some of the negatives, but also the positive sides of both dyslexia and the Black community as well. So, 2 groups I'm trying to focus on for this month. So some of the struggles that dyslexic and trickle Black people have respectively, which they would know more obviously than me, and some of the success stories and positives and things like that. And I hope by making these videos it's making a start, and so including point number 1. Initially I was going to talk about Italian footy, soccer, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, hopefully this makes a start. I actually meant to say in the intro those 5 I suppose I haven't mentioned those 5 causes, but yeah, I'd love to see what dyslexic and trickle Black people could contribute to those causes and therefore show a positive side to being dyslexic and trickle Black respectively, especially showing dyslexic strengths, considering people see dyslexia as a weakness. When I was in Kenya, someone said, my mum was talking about it, and also with the school I support, the founder was there, and this Asian person of Asian descent, when my mum was talking about it, she says dyslexia means you're slow, and my mum tried to sort of correct her and say that's not quite what it means, although we struggle with certain things, but we think visually, I guess. But moving on, point number two, I thought I'd make this video then go for a nice walk, just around the block, very short walk, but it helped me to refresh and that kind of thing when I think too much. I suppose walking and showering are two things that help me to refresh, although sometimes it takes me a while especially to get into the shower, but then it helps me to relax and focus or whatever. Could be because you're doing something different, it helps to sort of relax a bit or whatever. Although some might say if I'm too relaxed, I'll be horizontal or whatever. But if I was any more relaxed. But the second point is like networking. I talked about building networks for dyslexics, and also like you're building networks and supporting each other and like encouraging each other, pushing each other, and that kind of thing. And how I'd love to interview members of the dyslexic and or Black community about their experiences, so they can talk about their experiences and their projects, ventures, adventures, and whatnot, and hopefully that would give them a say, and also help them to talk about experiences and promote their projects or ventures or adventures, visions, missions, and things like that, whatever term you want to use. Probably should keep it simple, just calling them projects, whether that's their businesses or books. Funny enough that they make, even dyslexics can even write books, believe it or not, inspired by challenges, or some of us can. I'd love to do so in the future as well, online books. Number three, I guess all this would be their choice. So I don't know if I should say this, but not in that way, but it's like I'm not marketing it very well. It's not that it's a crude point, but I'm not marketing it very well, perhaps. But to be honest, I often think it'd be a hard sell to get someone from England who's pro-English or pro-British or whatever, who is an England fan, and trying to get them to support Italy or whatever, just because I do. But I'd like to try and convert as many people to Italian fans as possible, and similar with Celtic, which I hope to come to. But it would be their choice. I often think like none of these things are to be enforced, hence they're not rules or laws or anything like that, they're just suggestions. But I would love for Italian Football and Celtic to host events and invite dyslexics, not just from Italy, I'm sure called Glasgow or Scotland itself respectively, in Celtic's case, but also from all over the world to show what we can do, whether that's through helping them through fundraising, which I hope to come to, or helping them through practice or out of the box thinking when it comes to skills, tactics, and strategy. Like I was thinking about, Italian football is sort of stuck in its ways. They're very defensive, and our manager at the moment with Celtic, we went from a very attacking manager to a very defensive manager. I'm going to say sorry to those who are not into footy, soccer, or whatever you call it, but I hope I can convert as many people as possible into such. But yeah, he seems very stubborn, Brendan Rodgers. I call him Brenda, for a bit of a joke. Hope he doesn't mind that. If he ever hears me calling it, might beat me up. But on a serious note, I think like a dyslexic person might think, what if we tried this, or what if we did that, or a dyslexic player in midfield might try a different skill, a different trick that no one's thought of, or whatever it might be. So our creativity could be beneficial both on the pitch and off the pitch in terms of like fundraising, like talking about the dyslexic businesses and things like that. In my quirky thoughts, I thought about like Richard Branson in his biography. When I used to actually read books, not very much in it, but I read Richard Branson's biography because he's a fellow dyslexic. Not everyone's cup of tea, but fair enough. But he said about something about when he was writing the student magazine, one of his first ventures, or whatever, and he said that he wrote an article about like not using Italian or Spanish chefs or something, or the dinner ladies that come from Italy or Spain or whatever, but using British food or whatever. And I thought, as an apology to people in Italy, maybe he could invest in Italian football. Which reminds me of something I was going to say, but I forgot. Anyway, I'll probably include it a bit later. But yeah, it would be their choice. But again, I was thinking mainly I probably shouldn't say this, but someone, I I mean, if Italy and Celtic host those events, hopefully dyslexics from around the world will come and play football. Some who might not even be into football can get into football, and some who already play football might be shown what we could do in sports, and specifically in football. As someone told me, he goes, you might not like it, but there's Sam Allardyce, former England manager for a very short while, and former player from England, is dyslexic apparently, and also it'd be interesting to find out how many footballers are dyslexic. But he said also, being a Celtic fan, he says Steve Naismith. I think Steve Naismith. Well, I have to think, is it Scott or Steve? I'm sure it's Stephen Naismith is a former Rangers player, but he's dyslexic as well. But I thought of something to do with that, but I'm going to move on because I'm not going to say what I was thinking about the football thing because I don't want the video to be even longer. So I'm not going to say too long, but it already is a bit too long. But I hope you will still invite any dyslexic and or black people to watch these videos and or those who are interested in learning about dyslexia and or learning about the black community. I'd say I'd love to interview dyslexic and or black people, sometimes one-to-one. I'd love to do street interviews as well. I'd love to do interviews in a studio in the future. That's one thing I envisage with my vision. It's hard to imagine at the moment because I don't have my own studio or whatever. But I'd also love to do like Zoom groups, and it can be not just one-to-one, but many people. So many black and or dyslexic people talking about their struggles, triumphs, fears, hopes, dreams, projects, and whatnot. As I say, projects, I put in speech marks because I'm using someone else's word. But yeah, I was singing again. Probably for the best. It was probably my guardian angel telling me to move on. But I will say that I know Italian football can be a bit racist. So some people who are black might think I don't really want to support that because they are quite racist. But I mean, I suppose they could change their they could improve relations through football, with soccer, between the Italians and the black community. But although I suppose some people might say, well, if that's the case, why not pick any nation? But because I'm a fan of Italian football, I love for them to support, to improve relations and look at how Italians can treat migrants and refugees and black people better by seeing what they could contribute to Italian football. Maybe being naive as usual. But number 4, I talk about my patterns a lot, and patterns, alliterations, habits, and whatnot. And I was thinking that football, for some reason, reminds me of number 4. I suppose it starts with FO, just like 4. So yeah, I would have included, ideally, in an ideal world, I would have included more about football in point number 4. But yeah, I'd love to see if I could convince as many dyslexic and or black people as possible to play football in Italy and with Celtic, and even invest into a sponsor and even donate to Italian football and Celtic. It would be pretty cool. The people who run Italian football, the FIGC and the Serie A League, the Italian League, even the Coppa Italia and the Italian Super Cup, and basically those involved in Italian football could say, yeah, maybe having dyslexic people showing what they can do through football could be a benefit, and it'd be great if people learn about the positives of dyslexia through football. In my opinion, obviously, as I often say, like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Although being a vegetarian, it's a bit of a dilemma, that saying, but it's a recognised and it sort of aptly describes and fits what I'm trying to say. But talking about what I was going to say, but yeah, if Italian football sort of invites like Andrew or dyslexic people, I mean, to be honest, I was thinking like someone from England could say the same thing. I guess they could say, oh, maybe the FA or whatever could say the same sort of thing, or people who run the Premier League. I suppose that they already are doing things to tackle racism. They have been doing the same with Italian football, to be fair. But obviously I'm a bit biased, so I want to see more evidence in relations with Italian football. And it's a good idea, I think, for Italian football to support dyslexics and the black community for its own PR and things like that, and to see what we could contribute to benefit them as well as benefiting ourselves as dyslexics, and also how the black community can benefit themselves as well. I mean, I suppose you can't win everyone over. There's going to be Italian fans who are still unfortunately going to be racist. There's even one fan, to be honest, who was saying like he wouldn't want Italy to be like France, even though France win, because he said it's still embarrassing to have so many African players. But I'm sure, hopefully, a lot of Italians will say I'd rather win whether the players are from Africa or whatever, or Asia or whatever, because you still get a trophy at the end of the day. But I think Italy should pick the best players available for them. But yeah, if they host those events, hopefully they'll benefit Tampa and Celtic respectively. I know a controversial one I normally say is I discourage dyslexic and struggle black and other people from joining militaries, but also from gangs, terrorism, anything that's violent or law breaking, anything that's violent in less than self-defense, and any law breaking. And maybe we could ask for more funding from governments and councils and things like that, with the argument being like any investment, if it yields more returns than you put in, it's always worth it. And by investing in the dyslexic and struggle black community and trying to cut crime that way, I guess it's a worthwhile investment. I think. I'd love to know what you think. Number 5, as I say, my 5 causes are benefiting a town for Celtic, libertarianism, people from former colonies, and tackling poverty and alleviating suffering. And I'd love to see what dyslexic and struggle black people can do for those 5 causes, so improving relations with the black community and Italians through football, and also how Italians see dyslexia and dyslexics through football. Similar with Celtic, who already do a lot of work for tackling racism. And maybe like when thinking about the campaigns to tackle racism, when Italian football has campaigns, they've made a lot of terrible mistakes, which made it come across as even though they're trying to tackle racism, they're actually guilty of racism, unfortunately. But it's kind of funny and kind of sad at the same time, perhaps, I guess. But if they had more black people who were involved in running those anti-racism campaigns, they could listen to what the black community says as well. Similar with learning about dyslexia and dyslexia awareness through learning from dyslexics. But I'd love to work with Made by Dyslexia, the Yale Centre for Dyslexia and Creativity, Dyslexia Advantage, and so many different organisations, all possible organisations that we deal with dyslexia. I'd love to travel to Italy and Celtic and work with them, and also developing nations and see what we can contribute to them. And I'd love to know what black and struggle dyslexic people think about political views, including libertarianism. How many dyslexic and struggle black people know about libertarianism and what it is, and what do they think about it? I know there are probably many dyslexics who are socialists or communists or whatever. Some might be left wing, some might be right wing, or whatever. But it'll be interesting to get different views. Obviously, I personally am a libertarian, a failed one because I'm a dog runner. But yeah, ideally, I'm a libertarian. I think people should be able to do more of what they want, and I love for people to do pretty much what they want with very few rules or laws or whatever. But I'd love to know what dyslexic and struggle black people think about libertarianism or their political views generally, more generally, and seeing how many dyslexics would also like to support people from developing nations. Some people say dyslexia helps you to develop empathy because you know what it's like to struggle. But some dyslexic probably, again, won't be interested in that kind of thing, but it depends on the individual. Obviously, I'm going to encourage things that I'm interested in. And also tackling poverty, again, you can develop that empathy. We might empathise with the underdog as well. So my causes number 4 and 5 might be very apt for many people with dyslexia. Obviously, many people with dyslexia come from Africa themselves. And struggle or from the black community or whatever. So ancestry from Africa or live in Africa. But anyway, moving on. I think that was number 5. But yeah, my 5 causes and that kind of thing. Number 6. So I guess one of the things is seeing things like lists of famous dyslexics, the Yale Centre for Dyslexia and Creativity, Made by Dyslexia, the Dyslexic Advantage, and so many others. The Child Mind Institute, for instance, Understood, a channel on YouTube. I think they have their own website as well, but they're based in America. But seeing those organisations and how they talk about the positive sides of dyslexia, and in some cases other related conditions, it makes me think that that would be quite fitting with some of the things I want to do, because talking about the positives and the abilities that we have as dyslexics. So that we don't just have weaknesses, we do have a lot of strengths and things to contribute. But moving on, number 7, by the way, for those who don't know, I imagine people will notice probably, but I am recording both on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. It's probably going to take a while to get back to get used to doing that again like I did before, but I'm recording both at the same time just in case like something goes wrong with one or the other. But because I do my videos live, it's much easier to do it at the same time. Otherwise I'd have to repeat things and remember things or whatever, which is another thing to do. But I don't have memory problems anyway. If you've seen my other videos before, you know about me, you know I have memory problems, probably part of my dyslexia as well. But and sure or other conditions I have. But yes, I'm recording both of them at the same time. Yeah, because I do the videos live. Normally I like to do them live, and I'm not too keen on editing them. I might do a few in the future, like edited ones, or people, if I work with other people, collaborate with my fellow dyslexics or members of the Black community or whatever. We might edit them, or they might say we need to edit some things. But generally, I like to live warts and all, as they say. But yeah, I'd love to see what we could contribute to the town football and Celtic, whether that's financially or on the pitch or whatever, and all those other things I talked about. And also see what we can contribute to the world and how we can make life easier for ourselves and each other by working together. So we can remind each other about things, encourage each other, and just support each other and working together as a team, which I hope will make life a lot easier for every possible dyslexic person and Black person, respectively. Especially if you are both as well, Black dyslexic people, I guess. But dyslexic people and Black people generally, I'm overcomplicating it perhaps. But number 8, talking about dyslexic and Black people, I know, ironically, perhaps that's the right term, Dyslexia Awareness and Black History Month are in the same month, or at least in Britain they are. And I think there's a lot we have in common, like a lot of the struggles and differences by being treated badly because we're different, and we also have a lot of strengths that society perhaps doesn't take into consideration or know about. So it'd be great to raise awareness. Hi Matt, thanks for the comment. But yeah, if anyone's interested in being interviewed or whatever, it'd be great. And as I say, I'd love to find out more about each individual story and to encourage people to network together. Maybe dyslexic and Black people could look at what they have in common. Now I know, again, unfortunately there are going to be a lot of dyslexics who are kind of racist as well, so it affects individuals differently, and that would be another thing that would be interesting to find out the stories of different dyslexics, including challenges but also success stories and weaknesses and strengths and things like that, the positives and negatives and positives. I normally say the best to last of dyslexia, but yeah, each person's experience will probably be different. Yeah, I hope to encourage networking and again seeing what we have in common. The fact we are discriminated against in some way because we're different. Like for dyslexics, it's because our brain works differently, and for Black people, it's because their appearance is different. Obviously, their skin is different, or whatever. And I think both groups are dismissed in some ways and not always taken seriously enough. Although hopefully things are changing, and hopefully videos like this and hopefully awareness generally will, I don't know, the most coherent, but hopefully it will make some positive changes. Again, hope dyslexics and Black people will share these videos. Number 9, yeah, I'd love to support as many dyslexic and or Black projects as possible, and I hope to interview. I hope to interview Nancy and other people from the Rare Gem School, which I support. I sent her a message, and if you know any dyslexic and or Black people who would like to be interviewed by me, the one-to-one or or be part of the Zoom groups, please let me know. Thanks for the comment again, Matt. Matt and Media. Not too bad, but I need to find a way to get to the point and make interesting content. But yeah, I hope people will like it, and I know I do struggle to change, but as ever, I do welcome your constructive feedback. And number 10, hopefully, again, videos like this and more awareness about celebrities with dyslexia and that kind of thing, and Black success stories as well, will inspire more people in the future to be more confident. And I'd love to know if you think these videos can make a genuine difference and change people, or what you think can inspire, especially young dyslexic and or Black people, respectively. Anywho, thing all goes up. I am out, and peace and love. Also, sorry, before I leave, I might just ask, what sort of content do you enjoy? Do you like these list videos or answer, or do you like reaction videos? I will try and do some more reaction videos, but I have to wait till the TV room is free because I don't want to get interrupted when I'm doing because I do them live reaction videos. I love to do as many reaction videos as possible. In this case, on videos about dyslexia and about the Black community, Black British people, and even in Africa. And also I could do some Q&As, live Q&As. But if you're interested in me doing some live Q&As, please let me know what days, dates, and record times will be best. And also for the Zoom groups, and also for interviews, and any other things that you might think of, any ideas that you might think of. How would you empower Black and dyslexic people respectively, or both, or whatever. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up finally, and I'm out. Peace and love.